Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. We're coming at you from inside the weight room at Rowan County Senior High School that branches off of Warren H. Cooper Gymnasium, which is close to Paul Ousley Field, which where we originally were going to set up, but it's raining out there, guys. We're afraid of rain.
Melt.
We're going to melt. HTPT is brought to you by Fannin Automotive Family. We're going to have guests join us here in just a little bit. Vikings assistant coach Boone Goldsmith and seniors Blake Chapman and Devin Helbig. And Coach Goldsmith just joined the staff this year, working under Coach Ray Graham, who is in his second year of his second stint at Rowan County. He's spent a lot of time coaching football in the state. He's been at Harrison County. He's been here at Rowan County. He's also been at Lexington Christian. Been a very successful coach, and he couldn't be here today because of a family obligation. He had to be at Grandparents' Day in Scott County. So, you know, congratulations to Coach Graham and his grandchild. They're probably having an excellent day, I'm sure, right now as we speak. I'm joined by Zach Clemming and Matthew Sparks. Before we get the game balls out, let's talk about the team that's right down the road, Morehead State football, Zach.
Have played very good defense so far this year. Kind of mentioned an HTPT alum, so to speak. Zach Moore was East Carter's head football coach last year, and he moved on down the road to Morehead, and he's their linebackers coach now, and their shutout streak has now reached 2. They've had back-to-back shutouts for the first time since 1979, so that defense has really stepped up for them early this year. That was kind of maybe a sore spot for them last year, so they're certainly making some progress.
Of course, you know, let's talk about other sports real quick too in the area. Of course, you can keep up with the Daily Independent and dailyindependent.com for all that news. But you have some cross-country meets coming up. Matt, you're going to be at Boyd County this weekend for the Boyd County Invitational. There's also, you know, district soccer is coming up, guys. It's on the horizon here in 2 weeks, and also district volleyball will be in 3 weeks. Region Golf just wrapped up here at Rowan County. They can celebrate a girls team title with a score of 352 led by Taylor Kendricks 79. They played just right down the road, a few miles down I-64 off of exit 133. If you want to go visit Eagle Trace Golf Course, I'm sure they'll be glad to have you. They hosted the tournament on Tuesday that Rowan County won, and Greene County got second place in that. Also, Morehead State-bound Ryan Gillen came through for the boys. He led Elliott County to a second place finish in the boys region tournament. That was held at Hidden Cove Golf Course at Grayson Lake. Ryan Gillen shot a 68. He's really tough to beat there, as Rocky Stanley pointed out in the newspaper. So Gillen keeps on trucking. He's going to be here right down the road, like I said, here in the fall, next fall. So let's move on to football, fellas. And Matt, I haven't let you say anything yet, so I'm going to let you start with your game ball.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go with Raceland running back Kane Snyder.
No relation.
No relation at all.
I do like him. He's a good guy.
He uses picture pretty frequently, so figured there might be some.
Well, he's really come on strong here the last couple of weeks. I think he's now become Raceland's main option in the rushing attack. He had three touchdowns against Portsmouth West, 160 yards rushing. Really kept racing the game. Portsmouth West came out really ready to play. They even took the lead in the second quarter. Snyder, you know, scored 3 touchdowns, really kept racing the game, and I think I'll give it to him. You know, Kane's a guy that really would rather run over you than like run past you. But Kane, you know, Kane's got enough speed to do that too. So I think he's my game ball this week.
All right, well, I'm going with Fairview quarterback Alex Roy. Had just a huge first half the other night against Lexington Christian. Came in there as one of the top-rated teams in the state in the AP in Class 2A. Roy had 5 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in the first half. The Eagles just came out and smacked the other Eagles in the face early and just put them behind before they could do anything about it, really. And very, very complete effort from those guys. Alex Roy, as we've said before, is one of the top quarterbacks in this area for sure, and 333 passing yards, I believe it was. And they're getting better at kind of cleaning up mistakes a little bit. There's still a little bit left to be done, but Fairview, again, we've talked about how stout that district is, that Class A district, Fairview, Raceland, and Paintsville, and Fairview maybe would have been considered the easy number 3 coming into the season, but they're certainly showing that they're not going to be a tough out come district time, or they will be a tough out come district.
Yeah, and it appeared that maybe LCA was caught a little off guard by that offense. It's very up tempo, you know, the hurry up offense that they run. Fred Ray is, I mean, he should get a lot of credit for his play calling as well, because I know he has a lot to do with that offensive play calling.
And I think we'll get to this in a second, but coaching against Paintsville and Raceland, two very good defensive teams, so it'll be interesting to see a good offense against a good defense here in a few weeks when we get to that Class A district.
Speaking of Paintsville, I'm going with Luke Trimble for my game ball recipient. He had 4 touchdowns the other night with 2 interceptions against Bourbon County, and Paintsville had a really impressive 56-27 win over the Colonels. And that's going to go a long way, guys, I think, in showing that Paintsville is for real. And Luke Trimble, it's nice to see some other guys having some big games to go along with Cash Daniels' contributions. Of course, he gets a lot of the headlines and a lot of the publicity and the attention. But Luke Trimble is a guy that also needs to get some attention. And he just does a lot of things. He can run, he can catch, and he can also play defense, obviously. And Kent Phelps is another guy who's played well for them. Obviously their offensive line. So Paintsville is just a well-rounded team. I'm going to go with Luke Trimble, though, for my game ball. It's time to move on to HTPT's top 3 games of the week in no particular order. We're going to go with Fairview at Colegrove first. Colegrove hosting the game that starts at 7 o'clock because they're in that OVC conference that all their games start at 7, which isn't such a bad idea. Kentucky. Anyway. Can Fairview keep it going, guys? I mean, you just talked about their performance against LCA. Can they keep that going against Colegrove?
Colegrove's been somewhat stout defensively this year, but I don't know that they can out-athlete Fairview. They've got so many weapons. Antoine Washington and Alex Roy get so much ink, and a lot of it's justified, but they've got a lot of other weapons in the passing game, and they can run the ball a little bit. I think Fairview's a little bit too complete offensively, so go with the Eagles on that.
No, I like on Fairview's team, actually a couple guys that have kind of emerged as good targets for Alex Roy. Mason McIntyre and Dylan Romine. These guys they give a tall frame, about 6'2", 6'3", they're good athletes, also play basketball. So Fairview, like you said, they have plenty of athletes.
If you're a defense, you can't double team or triple team Antoine Washington because that gives Roy so many other windows underneath, and those are just 2 of the guys that have really taken advantage of that so far.
Don't forget about Ryan Akers either. He had some good games to start the season. So I like Fairview as well.
No, I do too. I think one of their main objectives could be a trap game here. You had great performance against LCA, and now you got #1 Paintsville coming to Westwood the following week. Like you said, Colegrove's got pretty good defense. I don't think they've seen the lines of Fairview's offense, though. I think there's many weapons. Colegrove has a balanced rushing attack, though. They had 370 yards last week against Rock Hill, again from 6 different backs.
Okay.
So you can't really don't need a lot of attention on the one guy. Colegrove's a defending OVC champions. They're leading the OVC conference right now. So I think with Fairview, you can't overlook Colegrove if we come in this game. But I think Fairview can pull away late in this game with their offense.
Yeah, I mean the Hornets they always bring a physical presence, I think, up front, and some physical punishing runners too a lot of times. So it could be interesting to see how Fairview defends.
Pretty high scoring, probably.
Probably, I think so. Yeah.
Raceland at Lawrence County. Louisa gets to host this game for back-to-back years because of the renewal of the contract and things. So last year was just a blowout. It really was. Raceland went in there, forced 7 turnovers and won the game 47-14. The Bulldogs looking for some redemption. I think they get it. I really do. It's the first time that Robert and Timmy Dalton are on the field together. Those guys are explosive. And Raceland, their secondary has performed well. Carson Christian is leading that group, but they still have gone through some growing pains. Now they have had some tests the past couple weeks in the passing game. Their passing defense has had some tests with those Ohio teams, Portsmouth West and Valley, and they've done fairly well against those guys. But Lawrence County is a different, kind of a different breed. I mean, you look at how they performed against Fairview, and you think if they perform like that again, they're going to win. So I like the Bulldogs.
I think a pretty low-scoring game in this one. 2 pretty good defenses.
That's true.
I think Lawrence County is a little bit more complete offensively. They have a little bit more of a passing game, and they're able to run the ball. That kind of belly option that they run is difficult for teams to prepare for because you don't see it often. Raceland did a fantastic job of shutting that down last year, but I think that almost works in Lawrence's favor this year because they got something to prove. I think I like Lawrence. Makes a couple plays late and is able to pull one out at home.
I paid for this last year, guys. I picked Lawrence, and I never heard the end of it.
Well, I have to go down there.
I'm taking a risk.
I'm going to get in trouble either way.
Taking a risk with the Raceland folks.
I think redemption is the key word here. Lawrence got their tails kicked, pretty much last year. Grant Kaiser, I think he's thought about this game for a year. Didn't have a great performance last year. 1 of 7 for 2 yards and 3 INTs. I think he's been thinking about this too. I think the experience of Lawrence County could really pave the way here. I think it's going to be a close game too. I think maybe he can't not have a big game, but I think I'm going to stay maybe in the racing doghouse here too. I'm going Lawrence too.
Wow, it's going to be a good battle up front too, because that's something that Coach Cecil talked about this week. How his guys, perform in the trenches against Isaac Wallace's and Jerome Halls and those guys. So.
Well, I think Lawrence is in the same with Fairview too. They got Belfry the following week, but I think that game against Racing last year can really make them be super focused this weekend. So I think that's why I'm going to go Lawrence.
And then right here in Moorhead, Friday night, Greenup County at Rowan County. Right here.
Right here.
Last year, the Vikings emerged 21-14 victors and just caused a mess in the district, if you remember.
I do.
We couldn't figure it out. Nobody knew who was going to the playoffs and who was going where and who's playing
Still
Cupcake.
not totally sure that the KHSA's application.
I'm not sure either.
Ours, but
they made us look like fools, though, I guess.
well, it's not any major accomplishment.
No, it's really not, unfortunately. But how can the Vikings come away with the victory at home on Friday?
Well, they'll have to control the ball and they'll have to hold Greenup County's offense down. Jared Hunt really took command of that passing game for them last week against East Carter for Greenup County, and they were able to do some good things through the air there because East was so focused on taking away Greenup's running game, and I think that's what you have to do first against Greenup because of how strong Ryan Bird and some of those guys are. But I think if Rowan County is able to do a little bit better as far as taking away more, that they put the pressure on that passing game, and you still kind of wonder how complete that passing game is. And I think we'll find out certainly if they have to do that. I like Greenup County on the road, but again, it should be another low-scoring, close game like last year.
I didn't know which direction you were going to go there.
I wasn't sure until about 20 seconds ago.
Matt?
Well, we got Georgia Central and Ashland in a few weeks, but I think this could be the game of the year in this district. I think with Central and Ashland playing so well, I think the winner of this game can maybe in the driver's seat for at least a 3 seed, so they don't have to face the number 1 seed in the other district in the playoffs.
Very important.
Greenup's defense, we all know, has been playing great this year. But they got two pretty good backs to deal with Blake Carver and Jeffrey Masters, and of course you got quarterback Delvin Helmy who beat you with the legs too. Last year I was at the game last year in Greenup, and Rowan County kind of chewed up a lot of yards on the ground in the second half. Kept Greenup County's offense off the field. I think the front four from Greenup really had to play well in a game Friday night to get Greenup's offense back on the field some more. But thinking about this game, it's going to be a close game, going to be a low-scoring game. But I'm going to change hats right now. I got my bucket hat has returned. I'm going Mullins and Greenup 20-13.
Oh, even gives a number.
Hey.
Make us
Good.
look bad.
I'll give you some numbers. Blake Carver, 684 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Devin Helby, 370 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Jeffrey Masters, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns. How's Greenup going to stop that? It's going to be tough. But the Musketeers defense, I think, will be up to the task. They have been, as you talked about their front four, I think if you just go ahead and clump in their linebackers as well, that front seven has been as impressive as any in this area so far this season.
They've really kept them in games.
They have. For sure. And I think Greenup wins because of that. 2013, I'll go the same score.
There you go. Well, we talk about Greenup in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's the whole key to maybe their success. Can they make plays in the fourth quarter to pull out these tight games that they've been in so many times? But I think it's Greenup's time. I think the time for Jared Hunt and a guy like Ryan Bird and those seniors, the time is winding down here. They got to step up, and I think they do that.
All right, Gilligan's going to go on a 3-hour tour, and we'll be back with Boone Goldsmith. All right, halftime prep talk. First guest of the day is Boone Goldsmith, who is new on the staff here at Rowan County. First year on the staff for coaching quarterbacks. What's it been like, Boone, just getting acclimated to the staff here at Rowan County and getting acclimated to the program?
Well, I grew up here. I'm 12th graduate of Moorhead State University in my family. So it's just a really good situation for myself, being under a coach like Coach Graham. I just feel like I'm really surrounded by great people in the community, great people on the staff, having a great time with the kids. just a really great situation.
Obviously, Greenup County's coming up this Friday night, a big game for you guys, as all district games are. This game went down to the wire last year. You guys won 21-14. Of course, you weren't here yet, but a good win for the Vikings last year, 21-14 over Greenup County. And this year, Greenup County is one of those teams that they're playing good defense, aren't they? And what are some of the things that you guys are looking at and kind of highlighting as far as how to approach that defense, how to attack that defense?
We think Greenup is a really disciplined, fundamentally sound football team. You can see that on tape, everything you hear about them, just disciplined, well-coached team. So, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. So, you just gotta try to take what they give you, which isn't very much. They got a good quarterback. They, transferred over into a spread offense. And their quarterback can sling it around pretty good, and they got some good skill.
What about your quarterback? You work with Devin closely, more closely than anybody else on the team, I'm sure. So, what have you noticed about him and his development?
Well, Devin's just a winner. He's just a solid kid. He's a leader of our team. He really is what makes us go. And his ability to run is better than his ability to throw the ball. He is a capable thrower. We're trying to increase our ability to be a multifaceted team all the time. And down the stretch, these last guaranteed 4 games, we really need to focus on being more of a multi-dimensional team.
You mentioned his running ability, along with Blake Carver and Jeffrey Masters. That's kind of a three-headed monster you guys throw at teams in the rushing game. On the ground, you guys have been pretty successful.
Yeah, we'll see. Running the wing tee, we distribute the ball. We don't feel like we need a feature back. We don't feel like we have a feature back. We have multiple guys that can handle the football running it. And we really feel like distributing the wealth is good here for us in the situation with the kids that we have.
Is this at all similar to the offense that you ran when you were at Lawrence County? Are you noticing some similarities at all? You
can run Lawrence County's offense out of a wing set, as they run that set, but that's more of a wishbone. I ran that whenever I was freshman at Lawrence County. We ran wings, but more of a wishbone offense. Mm-hmm. Belly read, everything. But this is more of a system running the ball. We didn't run a bug sweep at Lawrence County. We didn't run a wing T-belly.
Right.
We ran a different, belly.
Right.
Where you run that, But it's different. It's a different offense, and it's a different offense than I've been around, either wherever I've been.
Coach Graham, what's it like working under him?
Oh, he's just a great person. The reason he's not here today is just because his grandparents' day at his granddaughter's school. Mm-hmm. So that tells you his commitment to family is second to none right there, and that's really what he brings to the table, is a family atmosphere to a program. It really ties in the community here. He's just a big time coach. Hopefully, we'll turn it into a big time program. We really feel like we have kids and the people around us to do that.
Yeah, Coach Graham, it seems like he's an older guy. He's been around a long time. He's been around the game a long time, but he still is able to relate to the kids, isn't he? Even though he's an older guy, he seems to be a good motivator, and he gets you pumped up pretty quickly, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a very intense guy, and he's an older guy, but he's still got some buffness to him. His stature is pretty strong.
He spent some time in here, hasn't he?
Yeah, Blake Chapman might have a pretty tough time with him, but he's a good guy, and it's a real blessing for everyone to be around him.
We might have to set that up, a Blake Chapman versus a Ray Graham face-off or something.
I don't know. That might be a different game in itself. That's a special right there.
Blake sounds a little scared there in the background, so I don't know. As far as you personally, Boone, you know, a lot of people know your last name because of your father as well, Billy Goldsmith, won 72 games at Lawrence County, the all-time winningest coach there in Louisa. So I want to ask you about him a little bit. First of all, how's he doing? I haven't talked to him in a little while.
Oh, he's doing great. You know, Dad's dad, and he's just making the best out of everything he does. And he's doing some comedy here and there. He's tying that into motivational speaking for schools, and he's doing a great job with that. He's really found a niche for himself, and he's just having a good time with everything he's doing.
Do you find yourself now as a coach, do you find yourself coaching anything like him, like he did?
Well, Dad's a very intense person. From what I hear, he had a lot of intensity whenever he was younger. I'm not as raw, and you know, as Dad. You know, we played two different positions. You know, I played quarterback. He played tight end and defensive end in high school, and then defensive tackle in college. So you know, he was in the trenches a lot. So you know, if I was really intense, it may not be such a good thing. They have to go through people to get to me. So I wanted to, you know, not set my line up for anything.
What about your time at Morehead State? What did you learn as, you know, the backup to Zach Lewis? We were just talking about that before we came on camera. What did you learn there as a player, and then what did you learn that you could carry on into coaching?
Oh, like I said, I've always been in great situations. Zach Lewis is a great guy. I was under Coach Ballard when I first got there, and learned a lot from Coach Ballard. We still stay in contact. I ended up with Coach Tenure there. We still stay in contact. Coach Tenure's a great guy. You know, there was elements of the run and shoot there at the end, and then once we turned into a spread and almost into a system team there there was run and shoot at the beginning, and we turned into a system team at the end, really. But you know, Zach runs that offense maybe better or as good as anybody that's ever ran that offense. Yeah. And he has the all-time mark at Morehead. He has the all-time mark at Kentucky high school football, and he's running that same offense. So he's the go-to guy if you're a coach, and I think you'll see his name in a lot of different places in the future.
Yeah, and we can definitely see your name in the future as well. I know you want to stay in coaching, and we'll see what happens there. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, HTPT guest now is Blake Chapman, senior for Brown County. He is, what, 6'4"? Is that about right?
6'3".
6'3". Okay, I was trying to stretch you a little bit.
6'4" in cleats.
So Blake, you've been a 3-year starter consecutively, like you said, but you also started some as a freshman. Had been a tight end, mostly a blocking tight end, but you catch a few passes here and there.
I get lucky every once in a while.
Devin will throw it to you every now and then. One.
Yeah.
So. 4 catches this year, 1 for a touchdown, right? And you also have been blocking well for a really good rushing attack. Can you talk about these running backs and also your quarterback and Devin, how successful they've been on the ground?
I mean, it helps when you have really good running backs and a quarterback. I mean, sometimes you don't make your block, and they make it up for you and make you look better, I guess.
And what about defensively? You've kind of roamed around different positions. You're back on the defensive line this year. You said you played some middle linebacker last year. What's the adjustment been like just coming back to the line?
It's a lot easier on the D-line. You know, you just read 3 keys and that's it. At middle linebacker, if it's a pass read, you have to go. You get pass coverage. Now, just make a move and get the quarterback.
Do you like being up front better?
A lot better.
Defensively, have you guys been pretty happy with how you guys have been performing so far this year? What do you want to see as far as improvement and things like that, especially coming into the meat of the district schedule?
I feel like our defense has actually been really good this year. It's just been 1 or 2 plays, mostly been the big plays. If we can cut that out, I feel like our defense is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you played against a really tough team last week in Ashland. They're a talented ball club with Quentin Baker, of course, leading the way. What is it like defending a guy like that?
Well, I mean, if he gets to the outside, he's going to take it to the house. You just got to try to contain him as much as you can and just do your job.
What's the game plan against Greena?
Win.
You don't want to give too much away. Okay. Greena might be watching. Blake, I want to play a little game with you, just like a fill in the blank. Like you see in the yearbooks, you know, you have most likely to be successful and so on and so forth. I'm going to ask you a few things about the team, okay?
All right.
First of all, the class clown of the team is?
Brad Thomas.
You didn't take long on that one, did you? What about the most likely to go to Harvard is?
Devin Helvey.
No? All right. We'll see how smart he is here in just a little bit. What about the strongest guy on the team is?
It's definitely me.
You?
Oh, yeah.
I knew he'd say that. I knew he'd say that. All right, we're going to have a weightlifting contest here in just a bit.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Blake, thanks for joining us, and best of luck in the screen.
Thank you.
All right, we're back on HTPT with Rowan County senior quarterback Devin Hilvey. And Devin, you guys have really put a lot of effort over the last couple of years into learning the wing tee under Coach Ray Graham, and it was a new system for you guys as opposed to what you ran under Coach Singleton. And what's it been like kind of learning how to handle those reads in the wing tee?
I think one of the biggest things was believing in what he was telling us. I think, you know, some of us had doubts about, you know, running the ball so much and, you know, maybe not opening up our offense, you know, like we were used to. But, you know, as you can see this year, our offense is so much better. You know, we have kids that say, okay, you know, this is what Coach Graham said, I trust it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. As we're last year, you know, we were new into the system, we were learning it, and we had some guys that were kind of questionable about it, but we know now that it works. And, you know, you saw last year, Jeff Masters had 1,000 yards rushing, you know, in what we see as a limited offense, but it's really not, you know, if you run it the right way.
You guys put up, of course, over 700 yards in that Montgomery County game, the last game of the year last year. Second most, I think, in a game in state history. What was that game like just to be part of that?
It was crazy. It was you know, lack of defense and you know, good offense. You know, there was good defensive plays made, but there was just really good offense. And I think our tenacity kind of pulled through at the end, and our conditioning there towards the end kind of gave us the win.
You mentioned defense, and of course you're also Rowan County's leading tackler this year from the free safety spot. Offense or defense, which do you enjoy more?
I would say I feel more comfortable playing free safety just because I can kind of see everything. I know where everybody's supposed to be. A little bit better quarterback. I like having the ball in my hands, but I feel like on defense, you know, I can be more vocal and less limited to what I can do.
Now, your teammate over here, Blake Chapman, says you're the most likely guy on this team to go to Harvard. What do you think of, I guess, of that comment?
That's just relatively speaking. I don't know that I can get into Harvard, but if I guess I appreciate the fact that he thinks if anyone it was me, I guess.
What interests you academically?
Academically, really I'd like to go to you know, a state school, major in nursing, but you know, I'm kind of falling towards biology a little bit too. I kind of like it.
And the saying, of course, is of a game where you put up 717 rushing yards is that it's video game numbers. Off the field, are you a video game guy? And if so, what do you like to play?
See, I like NCAA 14, but me and Blake Chapman get after it on Black Ops 2 Zombies. We're pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, now of course a huge game with Greenup County coming in here this week. It's a team that you guys have been real competitive with the last couple of years, close games, and it's a big game in the district. What's the mentality been like of your guys coming into that game?
We know it's a must-win, and every year, you know, as long as I've been going to Rowan County football games, you know, Rowan County Greenup County game has been close, you know, every time. So I think, you know, we just know we were born into the fact that Greenup County is always a dogfight, so we're ready for that.
All right, thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
All right, we're back here on HTPT. We want to thank Devin Helvey, Blake Chapman, and Boone Goldsmith for joining us here in the weight room here next to Warren H. Cooper Gymnasium here around County Senior High School. They did a great job, didn't they?
Very good, very good.
The kids, we enjoy having them on. It's always a joy to see, you know, what kind of video game might be their favorite, or who the strongest guy in the weight room is, and we found out from those guys. So let's move on to Two for the Road. Matt, I'll let you start.
And I asked you a question. Did you have a good weekend last weekend?
I did have a good weekend.
Because you went to the UK game, didn't you?
I did.
Well, probably it compels the comparison to Jordan Spieth's weekend. Won $11.5 million after one golf tournament, won the Tour Championship, won the FedEx Cup, Brings
$1,000 in the parking lot.
increases winning just on the course winnings $22.5 million. I think they did a study on a story that I read that if you take Jack Nicklaus's total career on course earnings in today's market, he only made $24 million. Money in sports is now just astronomical anymore. These high contracts these guys will sit out for. These athletes are getting richer, and I think they're taking the money away from the fans. The fans keep getting a little poor. You take a second mortgage now to go out to a sporting goods store and buy some clothes. So I think it's just becoming really ridiculous.
Yeah, and these ticket prices are just outrageous, more and more outrageous. I actually had an opportunity, a friend of mine asked if I would like to go to the Shoe and see an Ohio State game, which I was like, yeah, of course I would like to. It's to experience the atmosphere and everything. And just that game against Northern Illinois, about the best price tickets we could find, $86. And that's in the college game, that's not even in the pro game, which you're speaking of.
Yeah, he's just, his endorsements too, I think, is going to go over $50 million. Now, I mean, he had to reward success. He's had a great season, but $50 million is a little bit excessive to me.
That's amazing. I think that we'll stay on the lines of money. Walt Jocketty and Bob Castellini and those guys in the front office for the Cincinnati Reds, they've made a lot of decisions regarding money, haven't they?
Yes.
I think Walt Jocketty needs to go. He's been a fantastic general manager in the past, but the past is the past. He's 65 years old. The Reds need some fresh blood in there, a new perspective. If you look at the season end today, and this is recorded Wednesday, if the season end today, 10 teams that would make the playoffs all have general managers that are under the age of 50, except for one, Sandy Alderson for the Mets is 67. But the rest of them are under the age of 50, and the Dodgers GM is only 37. I just feel like the Reds need a fresh change. They need a change in the manager's seat and the general manager's seat. So Brian Price and Walt Jocketty, move on over. Thank you for your services. But the Reds are going to move on.
Times are changing and getting the depth of the times, and I don't think maybe Walt has not done that. On the ride up here, Zach mentioned, that we have four of the Reds having career years, and we haven't been in the pennant race for months now.
Oh yeah. And I don't know who might be the next manager or the general manager. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any names to throw out there other than Barry Larkin. I'd hate to see him come in there though and fail.
Yeah.
There's such a short leash on these managers these days. Look at Tony Perez when he was the Reds manager in the early 90s. Marge Schott yanked him out as soon as he got in the position. Ray Knight took over the team. He was a terrible manager. Bob Boone was a former player. He was a terrible. I mean, it doesn't always work out that the former players work out into great managers. But I would love to see Larkin get a chance.
Well, there's a lot of pressure with Larkin. He has a successful playing career there. If he took a manager and it didn't work out, then how would that tarnish his legacy? But a team's only as good as their smaller roster players or they're less talented. They're only as good as those players. And we don't have those players surrounding the star players. It just never works out.
Lots of high school football games to pick from on Friday night. We didn't even mention Ashland and Boyd. We didn't mention them. They're in Canterbury, Ashland and Boyd. It's not been a very even series at all. Since 2003, Boyd County hasn't won. But it's still a well-attended game, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of people.
It's a big rivalry game. I mean, it should be a big crowd there, but those two teams are just too far apart right now, talent-wise and as well as offensive-wise too.
And I know you'll be at Russell to cover the Russell-Fleming County game, so plenty of games to choose from. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week from Boyd County. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. See you then.